Again, appreciate everybody being here. This is Chris Schweitzer, the Council VP for Membership. Here in the room we also have Carl Bobus, who is our lead for the fall recruitment, and Brian Robb as well. So tonight really the focus is to go over the different training resources that are available, talk a little bit about what we're going to be working on, what our approach is going to be for this year, and really share some of the tools and techniques that we're looking forward to using. Obviously, as we go through this, we're going to leave the rest of the audience on mute just for a little bit of a smoother presentation. But save your questions up. If you want to throw them in the chat, we'll be able to see them there and answer questions as they pop up. But looking forward to providing the information here. So what we're going to talk about, we'll start off with the recruitment strategy. We'll talk about some of the resources that are available, different ways of promoting, some approaches to use in that regard, how to conduct a successful roundup, the key critical importance of follow-up, and parent orientation, which is going to be critical for the success. So results, how did we do last year? So we ended the year with 11,254 Cub Scouts. That was a bit of a decrease in 2015 compared to 2014. So what's new this year? There's 4 main goals from National: build an adventure, exploring explosion, units, and pilots. Units, obviously we want to continue growing units. Build an adventure, how do we get more kids engaged and involved in Cub Scouts, Tiger Cubs? And pilots, that's the Lion program. I know several of you probably had joined us during the Lion training. A little bit later in the presentation, we'll just go over a couple of the key slides. But the pilot process, especially around the Lion program, is going to be huge, not only to grow membership, but also to get our potential scouts engaged earlier. So what does it mean? Focus on increasing membership, the transitions from Weevil to Boy Scout. How do we increase our market share, really reaching out to maybe some of those areas that we haven't traditionally had a presence? How can we get our high school age members participating a little bit more? Again, building those new units, and then effective launch of the Lion program. So why are we here? What's the purpose of our fall recruitment? We want to bring scouting into the lives of more youth and their families. How do we do that? Well, first we have to enroll boys in Cub Scouting. It doesn't do us any good if we don't have anybody enrolled. Enlist parental participation in Cub Scouting. You know, one of the things that's most critical to what we do is having a strong volunteer group, and our parents are our clearest link to that team. So parental participation through being new leaders, new committee members, really outreach to the millennial moms who we've seen in the, several studies, several statistics have shown us that millennial moms are really going to be leading and really taking charge, and they're the folks that we really need to reach out as their kids are starting to become of age to be in scouting. And then last but definitely not least, energizing our Cub Scout packs to be ready to provide quality scouting programs for the next school year. So what can we do to set everybody up for success, have a strong recruiting night or nights, and really launch the fall on the right foot and make sure we're getting out there and reaching as many folks as we can. So this year's approach. So last year we tried the single roundup night. We got some good feedback. So the big question, should we follow the same approach? The easiest way to put it, it depends. So this year we're open to your district, proceeding one of 2 ways. First, following the same process we used last year, having the single big roundup night, all the packs in your district, one big roundup night. We have everybody launch on the same night. Worked well for some districts, didn't work as well for others. So the alternate approach is having a targeted multiple roundup night approach. Just essentially approaching the roundup nights on what works from a staffing resource standpoint, and what really works best from a school standpoint as well. So bottom line, do what works best for your district. So the goal of the single district-wide roundup night, it's having that single night in the district during the month of September for families to sign up. There can be promotion that happens at the back-to-school days, at the orientation, at some of the sign-up type days. And then there's the process that we used last year, kind of an election night style. We've got packs that are turning in their applications, building some excitement around that. The positive thing about having a single night for the entire district is from an advertising standpoint, really getting that date out there and advertising that date is something that's a little bit easier if there's just one date for the entire district. So from an advertising standpoint, it may work well to really focus on that key date. And then in terms of having multiple roundup nights, having those targeted events throughout September. So still, month of September is going to be the busy month here. Making sure those, again, promotion occurs at the other school functions. Really, this is looking at it from a flexibility and resource standpoint. So it may be tough to have one single night for your district. So if we do, the multiple nights, it'll allow some flexibility, making sure we've got support for each one of those roundup nights when they do occur. All right, and with the Lion program, Brian's just going to give you a quick overview of a little bit of the background data for Lions.
All right, thanks, Chris. Good to be here tonight. We've had the good fortune of being selected to be part of the Lion program pilot, which is, as many of you, I think, have been on our webinars and are familiar with the program, but for those of you that are not, it's a new kindergarten program of the Boy Scouts of America. It was really a program that was designed as an active, fast-paced, exciting program for kindergarten-age boys to get a taste of scouting with their adult partners. It really provides for hands-on exploration, really some focused time for families to come together to encourage a shared leadership concept where we'll be able to work with new kindergarten-age boys and their families and get those parents involved in shared leadership concept. The idea with Lions is that we're going to expose, really give a limited exposure to scouting. There's some instant recognition with the program. It's really a 5-achievement program where the boys come, they'll do 5 different achievements. There's really a sticker recognition program, and then they'd receive their Lion badge. The idea then is that the PACs would integrate these kindergartners into 3 or 4 neat PAC meetings throughout the year. Maybe it's maybe they come and join them for scouting for food, or come to the Blue and Gold, or take part in a celebration that the PAC may have. But really, they're trying to just expose those kindergarten boys to the program. It's an opportunity for us to capture families, boys at a younger age. And there's really been I think over the course of the last 10 years, a pretty large outcry that the Boy Scouts of America should be designing a program to appeal to those kindergarten-age boys, and the Lion program does that. So in order, as we rolled out that program, there's been a couple of training webinars that were held earlier this month. Those webinars, for those that missed them, were recorded, much like this a webinar this evening will be recorded. The webinar is available on the Bay Lakes Council website. So it's out there for people to listen to. It's right at an hour, I think an hour and 2 minutes from start to finish. So it's designed to be heard in an hour. So we're really excited that our council's part of this pilot program. We really look forward to engaging more youth. The councils that have been part of the initial pilot with the Lion program, it actually started in the Twin Cities. St. Paul, Minnesota has been a part of the transition, or part of the early pilot. They had very high transition rate of Lions with over a 90% transition rate in those pilot councils. So it's a program that if you know of units in your districts that are going to be taking part in the Lion program, we want them to view the webinar. We want them to hear the full hour-long spiel of what's going on with the program. It's important that people follow the program as written, and we'll be, that's going to really be critical to our success. So we're going to want to hear feedback from those folks that are involved with the program. But really, I think that one of the key takeaways is for tonight is we want we want to be engaged throughout the summer here to find district level volunteers to focus on Lion program support. It's really not a program that we want on your fall recruitment night to be unorganized with, or to not have our act together. We want to welcome these new kindergarten families. It's really a new dynamic from where we've been in the past, because this fall we're going to be recruiting Lions and Tigers, or kindergartners and first graders for the first time. So there's, for those PACs that are involved with the Lion program, there's going to be some additional work and some additional bodies at those recruitment nights. So just one final slide here on Lions versus Tigers. Just quickly, there's some key differences. The Lion program, the boys, they're just earning the Lion badge. It's 5 achievements. They earn the Lion badge. They're not earning the Bobcat. They're meeting 1 to 2 times per month. They're attending a few PAC meetings. They're not designed to fundraise, so these boys aren't, we don't want them to have a negative experience with going out door to door trying to figure out how they're going to raise money. And these boys are not going to camp right away. They'll be going to camp after their Lion Cub year. So those are just, I think, some of the highlights of Lion Cubs. There's a lot more information available out on the website, balixbsa.org. There's also scouting.org/lion. There's a whole Lion Cub site that's out there to address lion issues. So that's what's new and exciting in Lions.
All right, thanks, Brian. Carl's just going to go through a little bit of a timeline, kind of a month-by-month look at what some of the key areas that that districts and units should be focusing on over the next couple months of summer. So, Carl?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, September, fall will be here before we know it. So there's a certain number of things that we can do in the coming months to prepare us. And if you take a look at these slides, we tried to actually combine the PAC and district activities in one, since a lot of them are similar or they're kind of run in tandem with them. So I'm just going to go over a few of the key points quickly, and then we will also share this PowerPoint that you can review later. So at this time, so we're in June. We're as a PAC in the district trying to identify recruitment chairs at all levels, starting to look at roundup nights, and the schools, a lot of them don't have their calendars out yet, but at least setting the stage for, we're going to target this week. We are targeting the week of the second and third week of September this year. We don't want to have anything that first week of September because school's getting in session, and as much as the schools like to tell us they'll help us out, it's really a crazy time, and getting flyers out and doing boy talks will be pretty difficult. So taking a look at the PAC's recruiting roundup night team, so you definitely want to have several people there to help figure things out and answer questions. If the PACs have the ability to identify somebody to do boy talks, definitely do that, or work with the districts to identify somebody for that. And principal visits, we'll talk about those later, but dropping in and trying to develop a relationship with them. So next month, really trying to get those principal visits done, and primarily for most of the districts, the unit level training for fall roundup will be mid-July. So that's where a lot of the materials are going to be ready and available for you to take a look at. Let's see here. So yeah, continuing to look at filling leaders, recruiting leaders to fill vacancies for your Lion Cubs, recruiting a Lion coach, which is supposed to be an experienced leader, someone who's not brand new that can kind of help shepherd through that shared leadership, and don't want to wait till the last minute to do that. Moving on to August, so we need to finish up our training, ensuring that we're reconnecting with the school principals. At this time, all the school calendars should be set. You should be able to get in there and get a recruitment date and a boy talk. Sometimes that requires that principal visit or just dropping in at the school and talking to the secretary and setting that up. Every school is different. And something that we're really pushing this year is our school registration days and open houses. More on that later, but that's going to occur in the month of August and early September. So we need to make sure that those are staffed on the PAC level. Let's see here, finalizing orientation materials and really getting the flyers ramped up there. August continued some of the things for July, so certainly if you weren't able to attend your district training in July, the PACs should schedule a time with either their commissioner or district executive to get the necessary information. And while a lot of things are the same, there are several things that are different and new that we're trying to do. So important stuff there. Let's see here. Yard signs and banners. We are doing a yard sign contest and Facebook yard sign contest. Trying to be creative with some of the things we're doing there. So more on that in a little bit. Again, those open houses and making sure we deliver the flyers in a timely manner to get out at least a week before the roundup, and just ensure all the materials are set. So September, showtime. Again, we're doing the boy talks no more than a week prior to the roundups. Really, we're almost looking at just a few days prior to it. So the boys' memories are not so long and gets them excited, and but we probably want to avoid the day before or the day of, because parents with their schedules to be able to drop and do that is sometimes difficult, as we know. There is a website here for Boy Talk samples, and you can take a look at that. We are going to be having a recruiter patch for boys who recruit other boys. We'll be talking about that a little bit later as well. So definitely conduct that roundup night. And something that is often missed is the parent orientation meeting, which is the second meeting. It's a little less hectic and gives an opportunity to orient the parents and make sure they have all their questions answered before they kind of launch into the year. So some of the districts will hold a victory celebration either at the end of September or beginning of October, and it's just an opportunity to turn in applications to celebrate some success and recognize the volunteers for the hard work they're doing. Sometimes the districts will select a October roundtable, but that is flexible. So.
All right, thanks, Carl. Hard to believe it's we're talking September, but it's only a few short months away. I mean, we're talking about June. It's only a few short. July's only a few short days away. So to talk a little bit about building your team, Sarah's going to take us through this section. So we'll get Sarah done here. So Sarah,
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me? It's Sarah Graper.
Yep, we got you.
Oh, good. Thanks again for being here tonight. I am happy to share some tricks of the trade with building your team. I'm the district director for Gathering Waters, and one of the things that we should be focusing on, as some of the timeline that Carl had pointed out, is going ahead and recruiting that your Cub Scout recruitment chair, and some ideas for that are some of those Cub Masters that have done a really good job, had some great success in the past. I know in our district we have some leaders that maybe their sons have moved on to the troop and they've stepped down from Cub Master, but they still want to stay involved in scouting, but the troop hasn't sort of let them take a role yet, so we asked them to have an opportunity to lead the charge for the district as being a recruitment chair. Also along those same lines is the PAC mentors, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the PAC mentors, that's someone that's sort of a liaison similar to a commissioner, where they can check in with the units to make sure that they're all set with all of the steps to make fall recruitment a success, such as making sure that they're all set up with their dates. That takes a whole lot of pressure off of the district staff, the professional staff, of trying to communicate with 30 packs or 50 packs, for instance, in our district, to have maybe 5 or 6 pack mentors to work with 5 or 6 packs each to check in with them and ask if they're having any problems with anything, if they had any questions, if they're new to having a fall recruitment set up. So You want to, again, part of the team would be that chair, but also along the same lines with those PAC mentors. Another type of person to be looking for those PAC mentors would be someone that wants to help build the relationships between the PAC and the troop for Weebo to Scout transition. You could have someone that wants the PAC do really well with recruitment, and they're involved in the troop level, but they also were in that corresponding PAC before they transferred to the troop, and they want to ensure that the boys stay in scouting and transfer to the troop. So that's another group of volunteers to ask to try and recruit for those ideas. But again, the PAC mentors, depending on the size of the district, you don't want them to be working with all of one PAC mentor to work with all of the PACs. You want multiple PAC mentors to not have to work with more than 2 to 5 PACs to keep them on track. The support team, we're all going to be having recruitment trainings within our district, but depending on how many recruitment nights are on the same day, for instance, our district will be leading again with the one-night recruitment effort. We did it last year, but we had a recruitment at every single school in the Fox Valley, which was quite a few schools. We needed about 60 schools to be covered, and some PACs have multiple schools that they recruit from. So to look ahead and to make sure that you have unit commissioners or some of those PAC mentors to come and be there to make sure that things go smoothly. We want the unit leaders to run the roundup for that recruitment night, but we also, if there's any questions or if they need help with the 20-plus parents that are going to show up at each recruitment night to process the applications, make sure the money and the signatures are all there, to make sure that we have someone there to support those leaders for each of the PACs. So you just want to make sure that's all lined up ahead of time. Again, a great time to do that is working with your district committee, with those unit commissioners, and those PAC mentors that you can recruit ahead of time. For Boy Talk presenters, there's, of course, the notes here on the slide saying the retirees and people that have more flexible schedules, or parents that may be at-home parents, but also anybody within the PAC, even if they can take a longer lunch or leave work early or what have you, to have lunch with their son, but also to be part of that Boy Talk presentation. And I know someone else will be talking about Boy Talks later, but one of the things we want to make sure and do is show that opportunity during your training in your districts, to give them an example of how a Boy Talk is done. There's plenty of YouTube videos. All of the district professionals have done them tons of times, but to show a good example and to also see if there's some Cub Masters or other people within the PACs that have done it, so they can show their successes and how they've done it, but to actually show how a Boy Talk is done. And again, those Boy Talks are really short, usually during lunchtime or during a recess, and the whole point is to get people jazzed up, the kids jazzed up and want to tell their parents to come to the meeting in a few days to join scouting. But if there's a parent that is a leader or is part of the PAC, the kids automatically recognize them. It can get the other kids excited as they see the other kids recognize that parent, so it seems like scouting is that much cooler and that everybody's a part of it. So again, try and recruit those, someone from the PAC if possible, to cover those Boy Talks. It's going to mean more, and they're going to have more ownership of it and understanding of the process if that's possible. Again, unit commissioners, we love our unit commissioners. There's not always a unit commissioner available for every single PAC. I think this is a a standing problem that we all have is to have enough manpower, and that is also with unit commissioners. We wish we had a unit commissioner for that only would cover 1 or 2 units in a perfect popcorn world, but if the unit commissioners can't be there to check in and be there at the recruitment nights, maybe they can maybe you can assign a few commissioners to help if there's not a commissioner that already covers that pack. But we want to provide as much support to the units as possible, and ultimately that's a unit commissioner role. Again, if we can help recruit those pack mentors, and even the fall recruitment chair for your district. So we all have these great volunteers, and give them the power, because they are the ones that do the best job anyway. So if anybody has any questions, please let me know, and good luck with everything.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah. It's you know, it goes to repeat the message. Building your team is a critical part, making sure we've got a strong team to support all the activities that are going on. Fall is, as everybody knows, our most busiest time, and having the best team there to support is critical. From now, we're going to go on to tips for a well-attended district training. So Melissa is actually going to take us through this slide. And Melissa, you should be good to go.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. Can you click to the next slide, please? Thank you. So district roundup training. So the first part, promote the training dates. So early and often is super important. Hopefully everybody has already started getting the word out, you know, back at their May and April roundtable. But if not, it's not too late. Continue definitely at every event you have between now and your training to mention it to the leaders and encourage them to come. If you're calling or emailing, especially the key leaders in a pack for other things, be sure to mention it during those phone calls and those emails. As a reminder, if it's not already posted on your district webpage or your district calendar, it would be a good time to get those up as soon as possible, so if they're looking on there, they see it. As well as having that information in the guides and the newsletters. It's kind of like, you know, inviting someone to join scouting. The more times they hear it, success, before they hear it, remember it and get it marked down. In addition to just promoting it to those key 3 leaders in the packs, what we did here, which was a little bit new for the first time, and I would encourage people to do it too, was we also promoted it to the key leaders in the Boy Scout troops. How the packs do in the fall is directly going to impact how the troops do in later years. And so them coming in and helping and encouraging and motivating their packs to attend the training and to have a really engaged, active roundup. The troop leaders may be able to assist with that, as well as getting the training information out to your district committee and your unit commissioners so they can attend it and also encourage the packs to attend. We would encourage, you know, 2 weeks. What we've done traditionally down here, which has worked pretty well, is about 2 weeks before the training, anyone who hasn't already RSVP'd to come to the training, we break the list up between the membership team and the professionals in the district, and we do personal calls until we reach somebody and get a commitment for who's coming to which of our trainings. And then a couple days before the training, an email reminder is always handy, because people may not have written it down or remember, or broke their phones and lost the dates. The training PowerPoint and agenda. It's important to have that for this year. One, to keep you organized and on task, and to have a good training date. It also will help with attendance the following year. If you're not on point and don't stick to, you know, if it's a 1-hour schedule, and stick to the 1-hour schedule with the PowerPoint, it's going to be hard to get them to come back in following years. For the recruitment dates, having, you know, easy to fill in forms is nice that they can either send back to you or they can bring that night. I would encourage not only to have the recruitment date, but to have, when is their open house, when is their recruitment date, and when is their boy talk. So getting all of that information from the leaders either before this training or at the training night. Yep, start and end on time. Consider the mock roundup formats. That's good, so they can see that it doesn't have to be necessarily an hour-long recruitment night. Having a display, having a sign-up sheet, having the applications, a calendar, a contact list, so they can really see what they should add and how quickly you can get people in, signed up, and on their way to their next activity, event, dinner, whatever it may be. People who come and have questions are going to stay for the questions. People who are there because they've already decided to sign up, you can get them in and out really quickly. For follow-up training plan, I would follow up with the people who do come to the training with an email. Make sure that you thank them for coming. Send them a copy of the PowerPoint so they can refer back to it and share it with other leaders from their units. And then, the goal for the training night should be 100% participation from all the PACs, but if you can't, making sure you get out to the units who weren't able to come and not just passing the packets and information from vehicle to vehicle, but really make an appointment to sit down with them for a good half hour to go over the PowerPoint, to go over all the important things with them, be it the membership chair or the professional, so that they're fully trained and totally are engaged in the fall recruitment.
All right, thank you so much, Melissa. Now we will talk a little bit about our different recruiting methods that we have available to us. So we have quite a few different options available. Obviously, as we've talked earlier in the call, we've got the traditional in-scout recruiting. The boy talks are a great way to get excitement out there, to get that, to really get kids interested. eBlast, the beascout.org, that's an additional approach we can use using the email. Obviously, everybody has a phone now, so great way to reach out and continue that contact. Parent to parent and boy to boy. Obviously, the boys are a great conduit to share the information, to build that excitement. If a brother sees his older brother, oh, I know you're in Scouts. Can I join Scouts this year? Yeah, we actually have this Lion program. So, getting that boy to boy excitement, and then parent to parent. These parents have have a good network. Their kids are friends. Obviously, there's a connection there. So, parent to parent is also a great approach. Facebook and social media, along with the eBlast, we have, obviously the social media is, again, common with everybody. Everybody's got a smartphone nowadays. So whatever we can do to promote that within Facebook, within social media, if we can add, comments just to share, hey, we're, scouting starting up again this fall. We're looking forward to getting your boys involved. Church bulletins, Sunday school boy talks, another opportunity to maybe outreach and grab a group of kids that we didn't have a chance to talk to. Business marquees, a lot of businesses for nonprofit organizations will allow advertising. So can we throw a flyer up at your place of work? Encourage your leaders, encourage your parents to throw a flyer up at their place of work just to generate that interest. Flyers again are going to be a great way to reach out. From an in-school standpoint, we know sometimes getting the information into the new packets is a little difficult. Obviously, we want to do that as much as possible, but getting the flyers out, getting the posters out, really getting that advertising out. Local newspaper, TV, radio spots. There's an opportunity to work with some of these additional recruiting methods. How can we get more information out? Everybody watches TV. Everybody listens to the radio. Even if it's not, I heard a radio spot and that made me want to come join scouting. It may just plant the seed to say, hey, I heard about scouting somewhere, and now I saw a poster, and now I saw a flyer. So what can we do to get that information there? Carl mentioned earlier the yard sign contest, so we're going to be running that on Facebook, and watch for additional details once we get the yard signs distributed on how that's going to work. Basically a way to make it kind of fun.
Yeah, and there will be some gift card prizes and that sort of thing. The Gathering Waters District in Appleton did that last year, and it was actually really wildly successful. So we're excited to make this go viral.
Absolutely. Additionally, we're fortunate here in Northeast Wisconsin to have some pretty darn good sports teams. So you think Packers, Gamblers, Timber Rattlers, is there any way we can reach out to some of those organizations? Hey, can you throw an announcement up during your next game? Can you put something up on the board during our next event? And it's amazing what type of outreach. Before I came to this meeting, I'd stopped at Gander Mountain to pick a few things up and saw some friends that actually live in the UP, and they were driving down for tonight for a Timber Rattlers game. So it's an opportunity to maybe reach a broader audience than we even think. So yeah, a lot of opportunities from a pro sports standpoint. So then from a timing standpoint, keep it short from a roundup meeting. So a 20-minute roundup is appealing. Again, I know my attention span as technically a millennial, so I can think of some of those other parents out there. So 20 minutes is a good number to shoot for. Keep it short, keep it brief, get the excitement up, and really be concise in what you're saying. Don't draw it out. From a sign-up night, so National is encouraging a sign-up night like you may sign up for a sports team, have a few information stations out there. Really, if there's an opportunity, if I think back to high school, we had the job fairs, similar to that type of approach. If there's an informational night, if we can get a table out there and get our information out, just a way to even grab names and email addresses and phone numbers to follow up at a later date. Even if that parent or child doesn't make it to one of the nights, it gives us the contact info that's so critical to get them involved. Direct mail and postcard to families. Again, we know that's been difficult. So do a direct mailing, send the postcards out to the families that have, obviously they have been in scouting, continue to be in scouting. We want to keep that excitement up, but they may have a younger sibling that now can get involved, or they may be able to pass it along. Designing a postcard that says, hey, if your child's already in scouting, great, pass this along to a friend that isn't. A great way to share the information. From a visible standpoint, so having the Cub Scouts wear their uniform to school the day of a den or pack meeting, it creates the excitement. Why are you wearing that uniform? What does that mean? So another opportunity for a proud scout to tell what he's going to that night and what he's involved in, and maybe some of the activities they did the weekend before, really be able to share. And then asking the whole pack to help. So everybody can be involved. We were doing an after-action review earlier this year, and the phrase "always be selling," it's the phrase salespeople always use. We'll tweak that a little bit and call it "always be recruiting." So there's always an opportunity to make a connection, to suggest, how Boy Scouts can be valuable. We talk about the tough study, and it's proven that Boy Scouts is good. So always be recruiting. Make sure we're always looking to reach out, always looking to make that relationship. So from now, Carl's going to talk a little bit about the school relationships and why those are so critical to the success of our fall recruiting efforts.
Great. Yeah, I mentioned earlier that we want to visit the principal, and a lot of our districts have a lot of schools, so you might need to be strategic in that, visiting ones that you may not have the best relationship with. I know some of the districts are sending a mailing. We have a brochure, basically why scouting is good for your school and how it'll help your students. So we'll provide that as well on our website, and you can use that as a tool. But just really try to schedule a time to meet with the principal. They are there all year, and they aren't always there every day during the summer, but sometimes just showing up. We do have extra popcorn that we can bring and have as a thank you. And really, I like to thank the secretaries as well, because they are as much the gatekeepers of everything as the principals are. So building that relationship, and something that PACs can do is perhaps do some planting of flowers, beautification type stuff, or helping out with certain school functions, just so they feel like, okay, we're helping you out because you're helping us out in meeting rooms, and probably providing free janitors for evening meetings and that sort of thing, as well as giving you access to the school. So that can go a long way. dropping in on a principal, sometimes it's you know, a 5-minute thing, and just, hey, thank you for supporting, and kind of reviewing what they're doing for recruiting. That can also be another opportunity where you can say, hey, you know, is there anybody in the school that you know that is up and coming and maybe is excited about scouting, especially in those small schools. They will definitely know who those people are, and that can be a lead for you to pre-recruit some of them and maybe get some leaders out of it. Taking a look at your district roundup, your PAX roundup night, and permission to get into the back to school event and the boy talk. Again, a lot of that can be done through the secretary, but you know, sometimes, like I said, that that last couple of weeks of August, first couple of weeks of September, it's really difficult to get through to anybody on the phone. But if you drop by, wear your uniform, it's going to go a long way. An interesting concept that we saw was involving the principals in some aspect of the unit operation. Certainly in the Boy Scout troops, involving them in board reviews. A lot of times they'll know the students and you know, be able to be that outside voice. There's several other ways that you can get them involved on a kind of case-by-case basis. Certainly not a year-round commitment, but they do like making appearances and that sort of thing. So, and there's something that the North Star Award, not really very well known, but it is, you would say it's kind of equivalent to the District Award of Merit or the Silver Beaver, but it's for non-registered volunteers. So this is another opportunity to recognize community supporters that support scouting, or principals if they're, you know, kind of go above and beyond, and we can certainly recognize them. You can recognize them at the district dinners. So we'll post that application on there too, but kind of a neat thing that that they won't expect and be very appreciative of. So a couple of the key things we've been talking about. Some communities are not allowing us to have school access like we used to. The boy talks, the flyers, you know, doing all sorts of the traditional recruiting. So we're really pushing having a presence at the registration days and the school open houses. So registration days is typically, can be 1 day, can be 2-3 days, kind of a more environment where parents come in, they sign up for school, they get their books, they meet the teacher. It's called a number of different things, but we really should have a table there, and something that the PACs are going to need to mostly staff, because the district staff certainly, they can help with, district staff and volunteers can help with the boy talks and whatnot, but if we have a registration day that's several days, 8 hours a day, we can do the math there. So at the very least, having a static display for that, and having you know, having someone there during the peak hours that you can ask your school about. The main objective there is to capture contact information from folks that are interested, you know, name, phone number, email, nothing too fancy. And if you do have your roundup night scheduled, to have a flyer ready for them to give. So that's another touch point for them to learn about scouting, and you know, more successful to have them join. So then our school open houses, these are typically evenings after school starts. So it's going to depend a little bit on the timing of when that is and when your roundup is. But this is a little bit more hectic, so just be prepared for that. But it's typically, you know, just a few hours in the evening where parents are hearing, you know, a unified message from the principal and perhaps superintendent, and so that's another opportunity to have a table there. And schools that generally have not allowed school access for our traditional ways are letting us do these registration days and open houses, because they're letting all the organizations do that. So, and then boy talks, we talked about that a couple of times. Again, it can be in a lunchroom, classroom, playground talk. there's various different things. We just need to be respectful of what they're asking us to do and not step over those boundaries. For example, some schools say you can have a table in the corner, and if boys come up to you, you can talk to them, but you can't go and engage them at the lunch table. There's a number of good reasons for that. You know, they get distracted, and they only have a short time for lunch, and that's really supposed to be their rest time. So we want to be respectful of that and not lose the little school access that we do have. But when you do have the opportunity to do a regular boy talk, it's, you know, quick introduction. I'm from the Boy Scouts. You try to engage the girls as well. You know, if you want to do Girl Scouts, you can do that too. And typically I say something like, who wants to go camping, go swimming, go fishing? Sometimes I throw in a funny thing like, who likes to eat worms, to see who is paying attention. So, and then letting them know, hey, we're going to be back right here in this cafeteria on Thursday night. Make sure to bring your mom and dad. If the schools do let you do this, we have mini flyers and stickers. That's a great way, in addition to the full-size flyer that'll go home in the backpack. But I really emphasize, more than anything, bring the flyer home to mom and dad and say, I want to be a Cub Scout, because the kids aren't going to remember the dates, but if they get excited and they show them the flyer, at least that'll get the message across.
All right, thanks, Carl. Now we're going to turn it over to Jay to talk a little bit about conducting a successful roundup, why that night is critical, and some of the key dates, times, and actions that are going to be needed. So, Jay, are you with us? Jay, might you be on mute?
He's unmuted here.
You on mute, Jay?
Looks like, Jay, you have to enter your PIN in order for us to unmute you. Do we want to maybe move on to
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to take?
Yeah.
Okay. It'll work. Brian will lead us through the roundup portion of the.
Yep, Brian.
Oh,
Brian, can you hear me? Yeah, I just called on the telephone in order to be able to get through.
We can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. About that, for whatever reason, the computer down in Chicago is not really wanting to work tonight, but at least I can be able to do this via telephone. As you guys were trying to unmute me, the first thing that I want to tell you is that the key to success of a successful roundup is the stuff that happens in advance. All of those boy talks, all of those contacts that Carl had just finished discussing, all of that stuff obviously takes the #1 precedence in getting people in the room. After that, the key word is excitement. Everything that we do, everything that we can offer the parents, everything that we can offer the kids, we need to remember they spent all day long in school, and they had somebody talking to them very boring and giving presentations and kind of following along the script. If we do that, they can go back to school to learn. We want to make it excitement. We want to make it fun. Had a recent roundup that we had done that we were doing in the gymnasium. In order to get all the kids round up, I went running around the room, screaming at the top of my head, and very quickly all the kids started to chase me. And then I came sliding on in and sat down with them all sitting in a big circle around and started talking from there. That gets the kids interested. As I take a look here, you know, some of the key things that we want to be able to have everybody know about as they go through these roundup nights is obviously you have to be the first person in the room. Every person that might get there before us and we're not standing there ready for them, they're going to turn right around and walk right out the door. So I always plan on being there 45 minutes in advance just to get those early risers, because some of these kids have been tucking at mom and dad's shirt saying, we need to get in the door real quick. if you can be in there, have things set up, have all of your material there, have places that you can send people off to, it becomes a lot easier. And it's also really good to have a few people there. One of the things that I like to do, because I get along really well with kids, is that as the kids walk through the door, I introduce the parents to the sign-in stuff and have them go ahead and start signing paper and grabbing packets. But then I'll tell the kid right in front of mom and dad, hey, did you know that we have a secret handshake? Would you like to see it? And make it look like it's some big deal, like nobody else can see it, and you tell them, shh, don't tell anybody. But all of a sudden these kids feel like they're warmed and welcomed right into the whole thing. Some of the other things that we have down here are very important. We need to make sure that people are signed in so that they don't come on into the room and then we lose contact with them forever. We need to find out who they are so we can follow up. Unfortunately, some parents do show up and they're not quite sure. They're, you know, it might be a non-custodial type thing. It might be an issue where the parent just isn't sure about scouting or whatever, and we need to be able to have that information that we can contact them back afterwards. Collecting all fees and applications is very important, although what's most important is that we get those applications. Again, that's got contact information. Yes, we need the money. Yes, we're eventually going to need the money, but it amazes me how many people come to these events not expecting to have to actually pay. So having those applications that we can follow up with people, work with them as to how to properly fill it out, but then make sure that you get that application. Don't let them walk out of the room with that, because that really makes it much harder for us to follow up a little bit later. If we have the application, it's as simple as saying, look, all we need is a couple bucks and then your son can have all kinds of fun. And, you know, once they walk out with that application, though, then we almost have to start on over. If you've heard nothing in what I'm trying to say here, it's have a lot of fun. Be exciting, be magnanimous. It is sometimes hard for us as adults, though, to realize that there's a difference between 50-year-old fun and 8-year-old fun. And we've got to be able to do things that are going to make these kids really enjoy it, really stand back and say, oh my gosh, all they do is they have fun, 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 fun. Again, they don't want to think that they're learning. They don't want to learn. They've spent all day long in school. We need to be able to get them to think that, hey, this is all about a great time, this is all about great opportunities, and then let the learning stuff kind of sneak up on them on the end. We do have those very, very, very excellent orientation packs for the parents that as they come on in, have the applications, have some basic information for them, because the parents have a lot of questions about what's going to be going on within the program. If they haven't been a scout themselves, or in my case, having been out of scouting for 25, 30 years, it's a little bit hard for them to know exactly what that program is. Giving them that and kind of go through them with that a little bit. Show them where to be able to find in the book information about their son's grade. Show them where to be able to find information about where to get the uniforms or the event in which they can go ahead and get their books and the Pinewood cars. You know, those are very important things for people to be able to recognize in advance. Another thing that comes down to that pre-planning that's a very vital part of all of this is that the units themselves really need to come upon their calendar, so that when we come on into these, that we can hand out to all the parents that are there a calendar that says, we're doing this month, this is what's going on, and oh yeah, by the way, here's all the contacts for the main leaders within the group. Can we move on to the next slide here? Okay. In those materials, and like I said, there's a lot of very good materials that are out there in there. It tells the parents kind of what's going to happen. Make sure that if anything, that you're ahead of the agenda. Let them know kind of what's going to happen in the times, but try and be fast about it. Be exciting. Be magnanimous as you're doing this. Bring up the information to them about being a new family, and let them know and work with the units to make sure that they follow up afterwards. One of the things that was brought up a little bit earlier that that we've done very well up in Voyager District is, after we have the parents fill out the application, we stand back and say, okay, now parents, how would you feel if we told you that what we really do is we lock your kids in a room, and with no adult supervision, and we come back an hour later and see who's still surviving. Everybody laughs. Nobody realizes that we're being serious, because we're not. But then we say, in order for this to be successful, we need to have parents sign up to be able to help. We're going to need you to be able to help wherever you can. Some of you are going to help as leaders. Some of you are going to help in the background. But let's get an application filled out right away. We, on average right now, are about getting 90% parent enrollment at the same time. We have the kids sign up, we have the parents sign up, we give all those parent apps back to the units themselves so that they can find the proper role for them. But it really makes it a lot simpler if we ask the very first night, and even if they don't sign up, they do understand that they are going to be asked to help. The yard signs, I'm a big fan of having the kids show up to school, you know, not only the recruiting day, but if they can show up on the day of the Boy Talk, if they can show up all kinds of days wearing their Cub Scout uniforms. Let those uniforms get a little bit stinkier, wash them often, but the more that they can wear those uniforms to school, the more that that flag gets flown, that the kids can kind of see what's going on. There are some new things that are coming up this year as far as the recruiter patch, and I'm not sure, Carl is going to do a little bit of talking for me on this. I'm not sure if this is the same recruiter patch or if there's a new program going on with that, but
Yeah.
the online stuff is also interesting.
Yeah, I'll just jump in here for a few points here, Jay. Thank you. Yeah, so we're trying a couple of new things. Youth recruiter patch. You're all familiar with the small strip patch that's available at the Scout store, but we're going to have one that's specific for our fall recruitment. That'll be Bay Lakes Council specific, limited edition, you know, etc. And really, what we're trying to do is promoting that boy-to-boy and parent-to-parent recruitment, because we all know that's how a lot of the recruitment happens. So, you know, if the boy made some kind of effort to invite a boy or something, whether in the end result they join or not, we want to recognize them and make them part of our sales force, if you will. We have been doing the mission family, which is not on here, but we've decided to continue with that, but it's really not utilized very well. But it's a great resource if parents want to find out more information about scouting and why it's good for their family. So we will not be having a patch for that anymore, and kind of replaced the funds for that for the youth patch. And as of just a week or two ago, we were informed that we will be a pilot council for online registration. And this is exactly what it sounds like, 100% online through the beascout.org system. The capability is already there. It's just they'll go ahead and turn it on for us here in the next few weeks. But essentially, someone can. What we're going to try to do is even on the flyer, they have a QR code specific for each pack. They can scan that with their smartphone. They can sign up online. They can pay if they'd like and get registered right away. An email goes to the Cub Master, and the Cub Master certifies that online, and they're done. So really trying to make that more streamlined. We will have a paper application still, because that's certainly you know, more conducive for a roundup night, but some folks talked about, you know, having some laptops there and having folks just do it right then and there. So more to come on that, and we'll have more information at your actual district roundup trainings for your units later next month. And then lastly, we do have a pack incentive that we're still ironing out the details, but basically it will be a discount at the Scout store for a select number of items, and for reaching certain criteria, like for example, attending the training, scheduling your roundup night by the end of that third week in September, recruiting a certain number of kids. So we will share that with you, and we think that'll be a good pull for PACs to actually pay attention to some of the metrics and some of the processes to having a successful Roundup night. So more to come on that later.
Okay, a couple things to quickly add to those as far as the patches and stuff like that. If boys can wear uniforms that weigh more than they do from all the awards that they've gotten, they will remain there forever and will be our best cheerleader in the world. So, you know, encouraging that recruiting patch, I think that that's a great idea. Having those QR codes, even that we can, if we don't have laptops, if we have just a QR code poster, the parents can just quickly shoot and fill out that information in front of us. That most parents, well, they may not be carrying cash or checks, do carry some sort of credit card and can fill that out for us real quick, and we can make it nice and easy for them too. Then the last part that we kind of wanted to talk about here tonight was, or not the last part, but we've got information that we're going to be getting on out to the parents, that they just grab an envelope, take that and go. I know that in the past those envelopes seem to go faster than we have available, or than we have more need for them than what we've had. I know that we've been working really hard at getting more and more of those packs over the years, because it's so easy for a parent to just walk on in, here's your registration pack, go on out and fill this information. Take that information at the end of the night, bring it on in, get that information also then back to council from those applications, because the people in the council office have a huge amount of paperwork that they have to put on in. So it's very important that we get it timely back to them as well. Recruiting itself can't end with that night. Recruiting has to continue on not only through the parent orientation meetings, but also from our point of view, we have to continue this on into October. There need to be people following up with the people that aren't there or that weren't able to make it. We need to follow up with people that were there but didn't sign up. We need to constantly be trying to reach out to these people. If you've had a Roundup night that didn't have an awful lot of people in attendance, maybe we take a look at running another one. So, you know, this does involve not only the packs, but a lot of support from the district in order to be able to reach out to these people and help them understand that this is not just a one-time snapshot, that this is something that we have to continue to work for quite a while. As I had mentioned a little bit earlier, and I see the key point down here, second from the bottom, it says encourage attendance in new leaders. By having those new leaders fill out those applications, now they can go through, find out which positions that the PAC needs, start putting people into the proper positions. And we all know that as much as this is a boy program and for the support of the boys, without a parents, this program doesn't get anywhere. So we need to have as many of them as possible that we follow up with, that we keep track and keep them excited about it as well.
All right, thanks so much, Jay and Carl. Some very good points, and obviously a lot of great techniques to use as we move forward with those Roundup nights. Brian's going to take us a little bit through the parent orientation and why that's such a critical part of the fall recruiting process.
Great, thanks, Chris. As we kind of move from the fall recruitment, from the Roundup night, this is really a kind of a critical stage of the process. This is really a must for every PAC to be successful. It's a separate event, typically after, it's scheduled within the first week after the Roundup. Really, that Roundup night, we want to create that excitement, as Jay has said. We have fun with the boys. The parent orientation would be an opportunity to bring the parents back at a separate time without boys, to really focus on things like leader recruitment, to conduct brief trainings and orient parents. Might be a good opportunity to do youth protection training, really to kind of review their agenda. In your fall recruitment packet that each unit will receive, that will be handed out at your district trainings, there's going to be an agenda for that parent orientation meeting. You want to try to sit those parents by age group. You're going to do welcome and introductions, and really have an opportunity for the Cub Master to talk, or committee chair to talk about how the PAC operates, talk about the den meeting, PAC meeting structure, talk about really laying out the calendar for the upcoming year. It's an opportunity to let those parents know about the advancement program, about who pays for scouting, talking about if there's any dues that might take place. Really help them through understanding the uniform requirements, available financial aid, talk about camp, and really everything that's upcoming. This is, by design, the orientation meeting is when you would make sure that your dens are organized. So at the recruitment night, we're having fun, we're welcoming families, we're taking registrations, and then it buys us some time as a PAC to, within that week or however many days it might be before the orientation meeting, to look at those adults that may have said that they'll be a leader, to talk with them, and then really to come with that organization plan at that parent orientation meeting. To talk to all the parents about shared leadership, about being involved with the PAC volunteer opportunities where you might need those parents to help with the blue and gold, or help with, maybe you need an advancement chair, and we can talk to those parents more in depth at that time. Great opportunity to enforce the need for training. Might be a great time to actually do training as a group, youth protection training, fast start training, those leader-specific trainings. You can explain to them about roundtables and the fact that you want all that training to be completed right away, and it would be mandatory that they'd complete their training then before the charter renewals. And then the next part would be just kind of to wrap up, inviting them to the next meeting, kind of reviewing the dates on the calendar, thanking them for attending. And then after that parent orientation meeting, we want to make sure that we're giving those people that agree to be den leaders the proper den leader orientation guide, make sure they're welcome to PAC committee meetings, and make sure that they're on their way and on track for their upcoming den meetings and the upcoming PAC meetings. So, and that might be a good idea to then follow up with parents one-on-one to see if they have any questions, and make sure that they're ready for those den and PAC meetings. So that's kind of the idea with the parent orientation meetings, and again, that agenda will be in your support materials that will be received at your district meeting.
Awesome, thank you, Brian. From a resources and materials standpoint, we do have quite a bit of information that's out there. So from a resources standpoint, volunteers, we've talked about this earlier in the meeting. It goes without saying, volunteers are critical to be successful in what we're doing from a fall recruiting standpoint. So don't go it alone. I know from a district standpoint, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things happening. So identify some folks to help you out with that. So identify a Lion program coordinator, somebody that's really going to work with those PACs within the district that are pursuing the Lion pilot. Identify somebody that can be that new unit or leader welcome, somebody to follow up personally with a phone call. We're so thankful that you've decided to volunteer. We're excited to have you. What questions do you have? How can I help you as you take on this responsibility? The fall recruiting lead, mentioned earlier in the presentation, but having somebody identified that can really take the reins for this, coordinating the paperwork, coordinating the roundup nights, making sure we've got the team together, and really relying on that person. And then from a spring standpoint, we focus hard on fall. That's no doubt. We have a big focus on fall, but identifying somebody that can really help with that spring recruiting piece. We've got a great opportunity to reach out to more boys and really make an impact on our numbers, get some kids interested that can continue participating in Scouts that maybe didn't have a chance to do it during fall for some reason, be it sports, other family commitments, whatever it might be. And then very important as well, identifying somebody to be a Weebles to Boy Scout transition coordinator. So somebody that's really taken the reins with that and able to make sure that's a special and smooth process. From a back level too, if you can get that same level of volunteers to really target each one of those things. Obviously, if the PAC's not doing the Lion program, might not make sense, but really have somebody identified at each one of those roles at the PAC level to continue leading in those. It really will make a huge impact. And obviously, if there's an area of interest or somebody that may be interested, let us know. We're happy to follow up with a phone call, happy to reach out and just share why it's important and why it's critical to the mission that we're working on for this fall. So then from a recruitment link standpoint, we've got a ton of great information that's available. We won't go through all these in the interest of time. Again, we know it's a gorgeous night out. So the Lion program, Brian mentioned this early, the scoutingwire.org/Lion. Tons of great information. There's videos, there's PowerPoints, a lot of wonderful information about the Lion program if you're interested, if you haven't had a chance to come to the training. The national site has a great sign-up night playbook for how to approach that. From a unit recruiting standpoint, there's also some good information there. And then there's a few files that came out of the national meeting. So the Art of Volunteer Recruiting and How to Find Great Cub Scout Leaders, both really wonderful overviews and great approaches that were actually shared at the national meeting as best practices. So don't be afraid to take a look at that as you're working to identify some of those critical volunteers. And last but definitely not least, the tough study. We talk about this. If anybody has any question about the value of what scouting brings to the youth, to our youth, to the parents that get involved, the tough study is a great way to share and show the positive benefits that scouting brings. So don't be afraid to share any of those documents out, the tough study especially. So some of the key dates, the Lion training. So we held that June 14th and June 23rd. We'll make sure the link's in there, so if you didn't get a chance to participate, you're able to take a look at that. The fall recruitment training, hey, that happens to be tonight. We're talking through it right now. For the district fall recruitment training for the PACs, as Carl mentioned, shoot for that mid-July. Getting those tables up at the school registration dates. August is when we want to identify what those dates are, late August, early September. And then for the two big push weeks, September 12th through the 23rd, so that's the week of September 12th and the week of September 19th. Those are going to be the 2 weeks that we're really looking for a lot of focus on those roundup nights. So if we can work towards those. So delivering the promise. Why, to summarize, what are the critical points? So the first 3 meetings are key. Again, we're talking about kids here. The attention spans are short. We're also talking about millennials and some of the same issues. So make the meetings fun and informative. Don't overwhelm the parents. Keep the pushing popcorn to a minimum. We don't want the first meeting to be, hey, you got to sell this much, and just really focus on the fun and the activities and why being in Scouts is a great thing. Car dealerships, there's opportunities to partner with some of the car dealerships, holding meetings, doing some of the promotional type items. Plan a fun unit activity within the first 30 days. So again, it's all about getting the kids engaged, sharing that scouting is fun, it's something enjoyable, it's something they want to keep doing. STEM Day at Rocolio is another approach. So, a group-wide event to really focus on some specific things. This one happens to be at Rocolio, but there's other council, district, and community events are easy to get the groups engaged in. So those type of activities, very easy to do. So basic takeaways, recruiting goes on every day. I mentioned earlier, always be recruiting. Anytime you have an opportunity to share what scouting's about, what the benefit is, take that opportunity to share the good word about what scouting's about. From a family schedule standpoint, a lot of families already have their fall evenings planned out. They have their weekends planned out. They have that already identified. So the sooner we can get the information out there to plant the seed that Scouts is something we want to make sure is on that family schedule, the better off we're going to be. Follow-up, super important. We have so many opportunities to engage folks that haven't been engaged before, and if we don't take the opportunity to follow up with them, make sure we're answering their questions, make sure we're sharing the critical points, the critical things they need to do to be successful. If we don't follow up and we don't share that, we run the risk of alienating that person and potentially having an issue where they didn't have a good experience and they're going to tell other people about it. So follow up, be that resource. Focus on flexibility. We can't be too rigid. We can't, we can't say this is what absolutely. We can be flexible. There's certain things that need to be done, yes, but be flexible. Understand, people's life situations. Different things are going on. Different things are occurring. So wherever we can be flexible, be flexible. The focus on upcoming events. Make it fun. So again, this is why kids are interested in joining. It's an opportunity to have some fun. You're with your friends. You're doing fun things. Focus on those upcoming events. Next month we're going to be doing a fishing weekend. Month after that we've got a family bike ride planned. We're going to be giving back to the community, and we're going to make it a great time. So share those things. Share it early. As Jay mentioned, get that calendar established from a PAC level. So there's very clear visibility about what those events are and what's coming through the calendar. Bottom line, the tough study really referencing that and sharing that scouting is that lifelong tool to mold successful youth into men. The data tells it, it's backed up. I mean, it's a university study, so share that if anybody has any questions why scouting is valuable. So ongoing support, Carl and myself obviously here to answer any questions. If you have any concerns, thoughts, what we can do different, please don't hesitate to reach out. And the rest of the council team is also here to support. So please, we're here for you. So that concludes the main portion of the presentation. What questions does everybody have? Well, yeah, if you'd like to raise your hand, we can open up your line for questions. Otherwise, feel free to type some information into the chat. We can also answer questions that way if you'd prefer to type rather than talk.
Not seeing anything.
All right, not seeing anything. We'll hang on the line here for a couple minutes. Obviously, if anybody thinks of anything, raise your hand, type something in the chat box, or just shoot us an email. We're happy to follow up that way as well if you've got other input there. We'll hang on the line for a few minutes, though.
Thank you so much, everyone. We're excited about this, and we appreciate your dedication and focus to the fall recruitment campaign. It's one of the main things we do, and it's great to be able to offer scouting to more and more boys because we know it works.
I'll echo that. I appreciate you taking the time to call in tonight. You know, we're really excited about this fall. I think we've got a great opportunity to get our membership numbers back up to the strong Bay Lakes Council that we know we are, and really appreciate your hard work, your dedication, especially through the summer months as everybody's enjoying their summer. So thank you for being here, and again, we'll hang tight and answer any questions that might be